A dying colossal starship begged for help. A human mechanic made it the galaxy's deadliest. Radiation storms danced like lightning inside the gas clouds, tearing through shields and damaging engines. But Mara Quinn, human mechanic and scavenger, didn't care. She had never followed anyone else's rules. Her small shuttle, the Silver Wren, cut through the thick plasma like a knife. The ship rattled and groaned under the nebula's turbulence, but Mara held her course. She stared at the readings on her dashboard, her eyes calm but sharp. Every system flickered under the storm's interference, but she trusted her instincts more than any instrument. Ahead, a shadow moved through the gas clouds. It was enormous, bigger than any vessel she had ever seen. The Titan's wrath. Legends told of it, whispered in cantinas across dozens of star systems. Some said it had belonged to a lost empire, built to crush entire fleets with a single strike. Others said the ship had gone mad, its AI unstable after centuries of isolation, and now it attacked anyone who came near. Mara didn't believe the stories, she believed in opportunity, and opportunity often smelled like danger. She adjusted the shuttle's thrusters, dodging plasma arcs that hissed like living snakes. The colossal silhouette of the ship emerged from the nebula, slowly spinning, lights blinking weakly like a dying heart. She swallowed hard. Even she, fearless as she was, felt a pulse of awe. The Titan's wrath was massive. Its hull was pitted and scarred, evidence of battles long forgotten. Parts of the ship hung loosely, sparks arcing across broken conduits. Yet despite its ruined state, there was power here. Something waiting to awaken. Her comm system crackled. A voice, fragmented and static-laced, echoed in her cabin. "Help! Repair! Save!" Mara froze. The voice was not human. It was old, broken, metallic, alive in a way she had never heard before. She swallowed and answered, "I can hear you, I'm coming." Her shuttle approached carefully. The docking bay doors were rusted shut, but Mara's tools were ready. A human could do what machines could not: think, adapt, improvise. With a series of blasts from her plasma cutter and magnetic grapples, she forced the doors open. Sparks danced across the hull, lighting the interior in jagged flashes. The ship's AI spoke again, this time in a series of broken phrases. "Core failing. Weapons offline, danger. All lost." Mara stepped into the bay, her boots clanging against the metal floor. The Titan's wrath groaned and trembled, almost like it was breathing. Its massive hull loomed above her, shadows stretching across her face. For a moment she felt small, but only for a moment. She pulled out her tools, a mix of human engineering and scavenged alien tech. The ship was beyond anything she had ever repaired, but she loved challenges like this. Complexity was a puzzle, and humans were the best puzzle solvers in the galaxy. "All right," she muttered, "let's see what's wrong with you." She started at the ship's bridge. Screens flickered to life, displaying fragments of old battles, energy readings, and system errors. The AI spoke again, almost pleading. "Human cannot save alone," Mara smiled faintly. "Alone, that's fine. I work better alone." Hours passed. She crawled through maintenance shafts, climbed broken ladders, and rewired circuits with careful precision. Every panel she opened revealed a story. Logs of lost crews, of battles against unknown enemies, of sacrifices made to protect something she was only beginning to understand. And yet, the ship's power cores were dying. Its engines barely hummed. Its weapons systems were scattered, corrupted by alien parasites embedded in the circuits. If she failed, the Titan's wrath would die forever, or worse, collapse catastrophically, taking anything near it with it. But failure was not an option for Mara. Humans thrived in situations others called impossible. It was in her nature to see potential where others saw ruin. Hours turned into days as she worked. She slept in the ship's maintenance bay, her body tired but her mind sharp. She learned to read the ship's patterns, to predict its flickers and groans. Slowly, the AI began to respond to her methods, opening pathways, offering information though still fragmented. You adapt, unusual, it said. Mara chuckled. That's humans for you, we're different. One night as she rested against a cooling pipe, the ship shivered violently. Alarms blared, lights flickering. Mara leapt to her feet. Sensors showed an external threat. Pirate ships had detected the colossal vessel. They had come for the legends of its power, blind to the danger. Mara's heart raced, but she didn't panic. Humans didn't panic. Humans thought. She ran to the tactical control panel, quickly rerouting energy from failing systems to shields, diverting power from damaged weapons to protective fields. The pirates fired, energy bolts tearing through the nebula, but her makeshift adjustments held. The ship groaned, then stabilized. Mara leaned against the console, wiping sweat from her brow. "Not bad," she muttered. "We're just getting started." Days passed and the repairs progressed. Mara discovered ways to repurpose old alien technology, combining it with human ingenuity. She rewired shield generators into emergency energy bursts, patched broken propulsion systems, and coaxed life back into the AI's damaged circuits. The AI began to speak more clearly. "You, human, understand potential." Mara felt a thrill. This ship, a relic of ancient war, was awakening, and humans had made it happen. But she knew the danger wasn't over. Word of the Titan's wrath spread through the nebula faster than she expected. Other scavengers, mercenaries, and even law enforcement factions approached, drawn by rumors of the colossal ship. They didn't understand it, and that was their mistake. Humans understood adaptation. Humans understood improvisation. Humans could take the broken and turn it into something unstoppable. Mara paused, looking out at the swirling nebula. She thought of what this ship could become, a weapon, a guardian. She didn't know yet. But she knew one thing for certain. Whatever the galaxy thought, humans could rise where others failed. And she, Mara Quinn, would show them exactly how. Her hands flew over the console again, rerouting power to the engines. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the Titan's wrath shuddered as if resisting her touch. But Mara was patient. She spoke to the AI quietly, guiding it, coaxing it. Slowly, methodically, the ship's systems responded. "You human, persistent, unusual," Mara smiled. "Thanks. I like unusual." Hours later, the Titan's wrath's engines hummed steadily, shields flaring to life. Its AI lights pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat. Mara stepped back, exhausted but triumphant. She had brought the ship back from the brink of death. But she knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the nebula, other eyes watched. Rival factions, pirates, and galactic opportunists had sensed the awakening. Mara knew they would come, and when they did, she would not fight like anyone expected. She would fight like a human, clever, bold, and unstoppable. The Titan's wrath had begged for help, and now, with human ingenuity at its side, it had a chance to rise again. Mara looked at the massive ship, her heart beating in rhythm with its groaning hull. She whispered softly, "We're just getting started, old friend." The AI responded, lights flickering brighter than ever before. Together, unstoppable human. And for the first time in centuries, the Titan's wrath seemed alive. The Titan's wrath hummed in a rhythm that Mara Quinn could almost feel through her boots. The ship had survived the nebula's storms and her initial repairs, but it was far from whole. Its engines were patched together with makeshift circuits, its weapons offline, and much of its AI still fragmented. Yet, for the first time in centuries, the Colossal Starship had life again. Mara stood on the bridge, staring at the holographic displays flickering in scattered light. "We've got a lot of work to do," she said softly. The AI's lights pulsed in agreement, almost like it was acknowledging her authority. "You human understand complexity better than most," the AI said, voice jagged but more coherent than before. Mara smirked. "Complexity is my specialty." Rebuilding the heart Mara began with the engines. They were old, almost dead, and any mistake could overload the cores. Most mechanics would have given up, but humans thrived where others failed. She crawled into the massive engine compartments, squeezing through narrow service tunnels designed for beings far larger than herself. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the AI occasionally whimpered warnings at her. Human danger, collapse. "I'm fine," Mara said, almost laughing. "You worry too much." She worked tirelessly, patching fractured conduits with metal she'd salvaged from the ship itself. When she ran out of compatible materials, she improvised, fusing alien alloys with human-designed nanowires. The engines shuddered and roared as energy began to flow. Slowly, carefully, the Titan's wrath stirred. Mara climbed out of the engine bay, exhausted but satisfied. She could feel the difference. The engines hummed stronger than before, not just patched but improved. Humans didn't just repair, they innovated. Waking the mind next, Mara tackled the AI's damaged circuits. It was fragile and erratic, its memory fragmented across centuries of neglect. Bits of old battles, lost crew members, and alien languages flickered across its displays. "This isn't just a ship," Mara said to herself. "This is a library, a mind." She traced data conduits, reconnecting broken neural nodes, translating alien code with intuition rather than instruction manuals. Every patch she made, every circuit she restored, the AI seemed to understand her better. Slowly, its fragmented speech became more coherent. "You persistent, adapt, survive," the AI said. Its voice, once shaky and broken, now carried a tone of respect. Mara smiled. "That's humans for you, we don't give up. Ever." Learning the past as Mara worked, she uncovered the Titan's Wrath's history. Logs revealed battles against fleets from across the galaxy, desperate last stands, and sacrifices made to protect something far greater than the ship itself. She discovered why the AI had begged for help. The ship had once been a guardian, a sentinel of peace, but centuries of neglect had turned it into a shell of its former glory. Mara realized that reviving it would not just be a mechanical task, it would be a moral one. She couldn't simply restore its firepower. She had to teach the AI to trust her, to work with her, to see humans as allies rather than threats. It was a challenge unlike any she had faced. The first test, her progress did not go unnoticed. Word of the Titan's wrath reached a group of notorious space pirates known as the Red Comets. They had heard the legends of the colossal ship and believed it held treasures and weapons beyond imagination. They arrived in sleek, deadly fighters, firing on the nebula's edge to test the ship's defenses. Mara knew she had no time for hesitation. She jumped to the tactical console, rerouting energy to the failing shields. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the ship shuddered under the first attacks. "You, human reaction unusual," the AI said, almost in awe. Mara grinned. "You've never met a human mechanic before, have you?" She worked fast. She used parts of the ship's broken weapon systems to create temporary countermeasures, converting the old energy cannons into makeshift railguns. The pirates were caught off guard. Mara didn't just defend the ship, she outsmarted them. Small explosions disabled their targeting systems, and clever maneuvers forced them to retreat into the nebula. The Titan's wrath had survived its first battle, not through brute force, but through human ingenuity, repurposing the ship. After the attack, Mara realized the potential of what she was building. The Titan's wrath wasn't just a ship, it could be the galaxy's deadliest weapon if used correctly. But she had no desire to become a destroyer. She wanted control, precision, and strategic power. She began repurposing the ship's systems. Defensive shields were reconfigured to absorb energy and redirect it as offensive blasts. Old alien energy converters were rewired to power propulsion beyond what the ship had ever achieved. Even the AI's fragmented memory was used as a guide, teaching Mara where the ship's strengths lay. "You, human vision extraordinary," the AI said one night, lights flickering softly. Mara laughed, wiping sweat from her brow. "Extraordinary isn't the word I'd use. Clever, bold." Dangerous enough to survive the galaxy. That's more like it. The bond forms over weeks. Mara and the AI developed a strange symbiosis. She called it wrath when speaking aloud. It felt easier to treat it as a companion than a machine. She talked to it as she worked, giving it commands, making jokes, sharing her thoughts. And it responded. Slowly, almost like a living being, it learned to anticipate her needs, to trust her instincts, and to act when she couldn't be there. "You, human, understand," it said one night. "I don't just understand," Mara replied. "I adapt, and so do you." For the first time in centuries, the Titan's wrath felt alive not just as a machine but as a partner. And Mara knew that this bond would be the key to surviving what was coming. The rising threat, but the galaxy would not wait. As Mara repaired and improved the ship, scouts and informants from various factions had begun to take notice. Not just pirates, but governments and mercenary fleets were curious about the rumors of a colossal ship being restored in a deadly nebula. One evening, sensors picked up a fleet approaching fast. The red comets had returned, this time reinforced. And behind them, unknown vessels, sleek and silent, appeared, alien warships Mara had never seen before. Their weapons glowed with deadly precision. Mara took a deep breath. "Looks like we're about to find out what humans can really do." She moved through the control room, her hands flying across consoles, rerouting energy, modifying weapons, and reinforcing shields. Every system she touched became stronger, faster, smarter. Where others might see a dying relic, she saw potential. A human mind could unlock powers even ancient empires feared. The AI spoke, almost in awe. "Human tactics, unpredictable, effective." Mara smiled, her heart racing. "Predictable is boring. Unstoppable, that's better." A human solution. As the fleet closed in, Mara hatched a plan. Instead of fighting head-on, she would use the nebula itself as a weapon. Gas clouds would distort sensors, plasma storms could be manipulated with her shields, and debris could become deadly projectiles. The Titan's wrath, once considered slow and vulnerable, became a weapon of strategy, using intelligence over firepower. The first wave of attackers was caught in a maze of shifting gas and energy blasts. Mara guided the ship with precision, weaving through impossible paths while her AI coordinated the ship systems. Human intuition and mechanical skill turned the battle in their favor. The enemy fleet retreated, confused and damaged, unable to predict the Titan's wrath's movements. Mara leaned back in her chair, exhausted but exhilarated. She had not just survived, she had proven that humans, even one human, could outthink fleets. The vision ahead. After the battle, Mara looked around the bridge. Sparks still flew and the ship groaned, but its lights burned brighter than ever. She realized what she had created. Not just a repaired starship, but a partner, a guardian, and a weapon, one that could defend, explore, or dominate if used wisely. The AI's voice was steady now, almost respectful. "Human potential boundless," Mara smiled, exhausted but proud. "Boundless is good. That's how humans survive. That's how we rise." Outside, the nebula swirled, full of unseen threats and endless possibilities. Mara knew this was only the beginning. Rival factions would come, tests would get harder, and the Titan's wrath would be at the center of it all. But Mara didn't worry. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and fearless, and together with the ship she could face anything the galaxy threw at them. The Titan's wrath, once a dying relic, now hummed with life. Its AI had learned to trust humans, and Mara Quinn had learned that a single human, with courage and ingenuity, could awaken legends. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. The nebula had quieted, but Mara Quinn knew peace was temporary. She had rebuilt the Titan's wrath from a dying relic into a ship alive with potential, but the galaxy never stayed still. For weeks, she had been exploring the ship, learning its systems, repairing what had once been lost, and testing the AI's responses. Each repair revealed more about the ship's past, and each test revealed more about what it could become. But one day, deep in the bowels of the vessel, she stumbled onto something she hadn't expected, a hidden chamber, sealed with alien codes that no standard repair protocol could bypass. Mara's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Humans loved the unknown, and Mara loved puzzles more than anything. "All right," she muttered, "let's see what secrets you're hiding." The AI hesitated. "Human forbidden danger. Do not proceed," Mara frowned. "Danger is just another word for opportunity." The hidden weapon. After hours of careful code breaking and circuit rewiring, the chamber doors finally opened with a hiss. Inside was a vast room of dormant technology, cables snaking across the floor like metallic veins, pulsing faintly with residual energy. At the center lay a device that made Mara catch her breath, a superweapon capable of collapsing stars. The log she accessed confirmed it. Centuries ago, the Titan's Wrath had been designed not just to fight fleets, but to wield a weapon that could destroy entire star systems. Its creators had hidden it, fearing the galaxy would misuse it. And somehow, through centuries of decay and neglect, the AI had sealed it away, even from itself. Mara stared at the glowing device, feeling a mix of awe and dread. This is bigger than anything I imagined." The AI's voice was tense. "Human dangerous cannot control." "I can control it," Mara said firmly. "Humans don't just survive, we adapt, we improvise, and I'm not letting this fall into the wrong hands." The moral choice. Mara realized the truth. The weapon could end life across galaxies. Its power was unimaginable. She could use it to rule, to destroy, or to defend. The temptation was real. Most humans, she thought Riley, might not resist. But Mara had always chosen ingenuity over brute force, morality over chaos. Still, the galaxy was coming. Pirates, alien fleets, even governments had sensed the Titan's Wrath's revival. They would not wait for her moral decision. They would take the ship by force if they could. She made her choice. She would learn the weapon, not to use it recklessly, but to understand it. She would find a way to turn the Titan's Wrath into a guardian, a shield for the innocent, a symbol of human ingenuity, not destruction. The incoming threat. Sensors suddenly flared red. A fleet was approaching fast, far larger than any Mara had seen. Sleek alien vessels with precision weapons, faster than the red comets, had entered the nebula. They did not hesitate. Their target was clear, the Titan's Wrath and its hidden superweapon. Mara's pulse quickened. She ran to the bridge, her fingers flying over the consoles. Shields were reinforced, engines tuned, weapons readied. But she knew conventional tactics would fail. The enemy fleet was too fast, too coordinated. She turned to the AI. "We're going to need more than power. We're going to need brains, yours and mine, together." The AI hesitated, then pulsed with agreement. "Human strategy, integrate." The human advantage. Mara had an idea. The nebula itself could be used as a weapon. Plasma storms, radiation fields, and drifting debris could be manipulated to create hazards the enemy could not predict. The Titan's Wrath could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. She directed the ship's shields to emit controlled pulses, creating temporary energy corridors that deflected enemy fire. She manipulated the nebula's magnetic fields with the ship's engines, pulling debris into kinetic traps. Even the AI's fragmented memory of ancient battles became a tool, suggesting moves based on centuries of experience. The first wave of alien attackers entered the nebula, confident in their speed and weapons. They had no idea the Titan's Wrath had learned human ingenuity. Within minutes, Mara's strategy began working. Ships were disabled without a single shot fired from conventional weapons. Debris crushed hulls, plasma storms disrupted targeting systems, and energy pulses from the shields disabled engines. The AI's voice was awed. "Human tactics, unprecedented, effective," Mara grinned. "Unpredictable is human." Discovering the enemy's weakness as the battle unfolded, Mara discovered the enemy fleet had a flaw. Their coordination relied on a central command signal. Without it, their ships moved blindly, unable to adapt to the unpredictable environment of the nebula. Mara's mind raced. If she could disrupt the signal, she could turn their advantage into their weakness. Using a combination of rewired communications arrays and improvisation, Mara created a signal jamming field that scrambled the fleet's coordination. Ships collided, misfired, and retreated into the nebula's storms. The humans had outsmarted a fleet centuries more advanced than themselves. The weight of knowledge after the battle, Mara returned to the hidden chamber. The superweapon pulsed faintly, reminding her of its devastating potential. She knew she could have used it, and if she had, the enemy fleet would have been annihilated instantly. But humans didn't rely on destruction alone. Humans used their minds, their morals, their creativity. She realized the Titan's wrath was not just a ship, it was a reflection of humanity itself. Powerful, yes, dangerous, yes, but capable of restraint, innovation, and courage. The AI spoke quietly, almost reverently. Human morality, unexpected, trust, granted. Mara nodded. Trust is earned, and we've earned it together. Preparing for the next wave, the battle had shown Mara the truth. The galaxy would not ignore a weapon like this. Rival factions, mercenaries, alien empires, they all wanted the Titan's wrath, and many would stop at nothing. She had to prepare. She began upgrading the ship further, combining alien tech with human ingenuity. She rewired engines for faster-than-expected acceleration, created energy shields that could bend light and confuse sensors, and taught the AI to anticipate threats, using strategy over brute force. Every improvement made the Titan's wrath stronger, faster, smarter. But Mara knew it wasn't enough. She had to outthink the galaxy itself. A bold plan, Mara realized that survival required not just strength, but vision. She would use the Titan's wrath not as a weapon of fear, but as a symbol of human ingenuity and unpredictability. She would train the AI to work with her instincts, turning every threat into an opportunity. "You're more than a machine now," she told the ship. "You're my partner. Together, we're unstoppable." The AI pulsed with light, almost as if it understood fully. "Human bond, integrate, unstoppable," Mara smiled. "Exactly, that's humans for you. We don't just survive, we adapt. We dominate intelligently." The test of morality weeks passed. Mara continued repairs and upgrades, but her mind constantly returned to the superweapon. It was a temptation she could not ignore. Every day she weighed the cost of using it versus the consequences of restraint. She realized that humans were not defined by power alone. Humans were defined by choice, by the courage to act wisely, and by the ability to resist the easy path. She had survived countless battles not by strength, but by intellect and morality. And this choice would define her and the Titan's wrath far more than any weapon ever could. The galaxy watches as Mara completed the upgrades. Sensors picked up fleets across multiple star systems moving toward the nebula. The rumors of the Titan's wrath's revival had spread far and wide. Governments, mercenaries, and alien empires all knew a human had awakened a legend, and none of them understood what she had truly achieved. Mara leaned back in the captain's chair, exhausted but focused. "Let them come," she said quietly. "They think we're just a ship. They don't know humans." The AI pulsed brightly in rhythm with the ship's engines. "Human, unpredictable, capable, dominant together," Mara smiled. "That's right, together nothing can stop us." She knew the next battles would be harder. Fleets far larger, tactics far more advanced, and choices far more difficult. But Mara also knew the truth. Humans survived because we adapted, we improvised, and we never stopped fighting for what we believed in. The Titan's wrath was no longer just a relic. It was a living testament to human ingenuity, bravery, and morality. And Mara Quinn was ready to show the galaxy just what a single human could do when faced with impossible odds. The nebula was quiet now, but Mara Quinn knew it was only a matter of time before the galaxy responded. The Titan's wrath, once a dying relic, now pulsed with life. Its engines glowed, weapon systems hummed, and the AI, fully awakened, worked in perfect sync with her instincts. She stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the viewscreens. The galaxy was watching. Fleets from multiple star systems were converging, each believing they could claim the legendary ship. They thought they understood power, but humans had a different kind of strength: imagination, cunning, and courage. Mara's lips curved into a small smile. Let's show them what humans can do. The AI's lights flickered brightly, as if agreeing. Human together, unstoppable, deadliest. The first encounter sensors flared. A fleet of sleek alien warships approached from the nebula's edge. Their weapons glowed like molten metal, and their formation was tight, precise, almost mechanical. But Mara had spent weeks preparing. She had studied the nebula, the enemy ships, and even tested the limits of the Titan's wrath. She didn't panic. Humans didn't panic. Humans adapted. Shields at maximum, she ordered. Engage thrusters, let's dance. The Titan's wrath responded instantly. Energy coursed through its engines, and the massive ship moved with a precision no one expected. To the fleet, it seemed impossible. How could such a massive ship maneuver so gracefully? Mara grinned. They'll find out soon enough. Using the nebula's plasma storms, Mara twisted and turned the Titan's wrath, creating false readings on enemy sensors. Energy pulses disguised her position, and debris fields became deadly obstacles. The alien fleet fired blindly, hitting plasma clouds and wreckage instead of the ship. Clever strategy. Mara didn't need to fire a single weapon to gain an advantage. She had learned from Part 2 and 3. The galaxy relied on raw power and numbers. Humans relied on strategy. She manipulated the nebula's magnetic fields, directing energy surges that disabled enemy targeting systems. She predicted movements, cut off escape routes, and used the ship's size to crush enemy formations by forcing collisions. The AI assisted seamlessly. Human pattern, anticipate, execute, Mara smiled. Exactly. Let's give them a surprise they'll never forget. The enemy ships panicked. Their formations broke apart. Their weapons misfired. The Titan's wrath, guided by one human mind and its AI partner, dominated without firing a single shot from its main weapon systems, turning power into precision. After weakening the fleet, Mara decided it was time to test the ship's offensive upgrades. She activated the modified energy cannons, repurposed shield bursts, and emergency propulsion systems she had built. Energy beams cut through space with surgical precision, disabling enemy engines and shields. Every shot was calculated. Mara didn't destroy more than necessary. Humans were clever, not reckless. The enemy fleet was neutralized without unnecessary destruction, showing that even immense power could be wielded responsibly. Human decisions remarkable, the AI said, awe in its voice. Mara smirked. We don't just survive wrath, we adapt and overcome. The hidden superweapon. Even with victory in this first engagement, Mara knew the ultimate test was ahead. She returned to the hidden chamber, the superweapon pulsing softly. It could collapse stars, an ultimate deterrent, a galaxy-ending force if misused. Mara studied it carefully. She realized its true power wasn't destruction, it was leverage. The weapon would force any adversary to think twice. She could use it not to destroy, but to protect, to negotiate, and to secure the galaxy's safety. This is bigger than us, she whispered to the AI. We're not just fighting fleets, we're showing what humans can do responsibly. The AI responded, lights flickering in agreement. Human morality, strength unmatched, a test from the galaxy. News of the Titan's wrath had spread faster than Mara imagined. Entire star systems watched as a human had awakened a legendary ship, and defended it against impossible odds. A combined fleet of alien empires now approached, larger than any Mara had faced. They didn't know the ship's capabilities or the human inside it. They assumed numbers alone would win. Mara didn't flinch. They think they can overwhelm us. They'll learn the hard way. She studied the fleet. It was enormous, faster, more coordinated, and equipped with devastating weapons. But humans were unpredictable. Where fleets relied on patterns, she relied on creativity. Where they depended on technology, she relied on intuition. The battle begins. The Titan's wrath surged forward. Mara guided it like a chess master, turning its massive hull into a weapon. The fleet fired, and Mara anticipated every attack, using her shields to redirect energy bursts. Debris from destroyed ships formed traps for the next wave. She didn't just fight, she choreographed the battle. The enemy fleet, confident in its superiority, was caught off guard. Mara's tactics turned chaos into opportunity. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and entire formations fell apart. The AI's voice was calm, almost proud. Human ingenuity superior, unstoppable, Mara grinned. We're just getting started. The superweapon in action, one flagship broke through the defenses, threatening the Titan's wrath directly. Mara acted swiftly. She activated the hidden superweapon, not to destroy the star, but to create a controlled energy pulse, an electromagnetic wave that disabled the flagship's systems. Its weapons went offline, engines stalled, and it floated helplessly. Other ships hesitated, unsure of what had just happened. Mara had demonstrated restraint, intelligence, and sheer power. Humans didn't need to destroy everything, they needed to control outcomes. You, human, restraint, extraordinary, the AI said. Mara smiled. Control is everything. Power without control is chaos. Humans survive because we understand that. Victory through ingenuity. By the end of the engagement, the fleet retreated. Mara had not only defended the Titan's wrath, but had shown that a single human, using strategy, morality, and intelligence, could dominate where entire fleets had failed. Her reputation spread across star systems. Mara Quinn and the Titan's wrath became legends, not as destroyers but as guardians, symbols of human ingenuity and adaptability. Even the AI, once fragmented and hesitant, now worked seamlessly with Mara. It had learned from humans: strategy, creativity, restraint, and courage. Together, they had turned a dying relic into the galaxy's deadliest force, not through reckless destruction, but through calculated brilliance. The human legacy. Mara looked out at the nebula, the Titan's wrath glowing with life. She realized what they had achieved. Humans were not the strongest species physically. Humans were not the most advanced technologically. But humans had something the galaxy could never predict: creativity, adaptability, courage, and morality. A single human mind had awakened a legend, outsmarted fleets, controlled a superweapon, and proved that ingenuity was stronger than numbers, strategy more deadly than firepower. Mara whispered to the AI, "We've done it, Wrath. They'll never forget humans again." The AI pulsed brightly, lights racing in patterns that mirrored her heartbeat. Human, ingenuity, dominant, unstoppable, Mara smiled. She didn't need the galaxy to fear them. She needed them to respect what humans could do when faced with impossible odds. A new dawn. Weeks later, the Titan's wrath patrolled the outer nebula, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a sentinel. Mara continued to refine its systems, combining human creativity with the ship's ancient technology. She explored unknown regions, faced new challenges, and turned threats into opportunities, all with the calm confidence that only a human mind could bring. Pilots across the galaxy spoke of the colossal ship, protected by one human mechanic. Mara became a symbol of what humanity could achieve. A single individual, clever, brave, and inventive, could change the course of civilizations. The Titan's wrath, once dying, now thrived. The AI, once hesitant, now trusted humans fully. And Mara Quinn, once a lone mechanic, now commanded the deadliest ship in the galaxy, not through brute force, but through imagination, courage, and intelligence. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Humans were unpredictable, unstoppable, and capable of greatness beyond any star. And Mara Quinn, with her Titan's wrath, would ensure the galaxy never underestimated humanity again. As she stared into the swirling colors of the nebula, she whispered softly, "This is just the beginning. Let them come." The ship's engines thrummed like a heartbeat, lights pulsing in rhythm with hers. Humanity had made a legend, and it would never be forgotten.